Hey everyone, this is Anurag here from Edutrainex PTE and we are Edutrainex. So basically we have been sharing with you all the updates and all the mock test, official mock tests that I have done with you, the results related to the reading success, the writing template success. But this time I was going to share with you the speaking success, but the students were asking to get to the strategies. So right now we have two new types of questions in the speaking module and I am going to cover them one by one. So today we are going to talk about summarize group discussion and we will just break it apart. Like and subscribe and watch it right till the end. Okay, so on 7th of August 2025, Pearson has introduced two new types of questions, summarize group discussion and respond to situation, and these two questions were tried earlier in the real PT exam as trial questions. So people who have been preparing for long, they know about this task. But if you don't know, there's nothing to worry. Summarize group discussion is an expansion of retail lecture question that you are already doing. In retail lecture, mainly there is one lecture or two speakers sometimes, but in this particular question, there will be 2 to 3 speakers, mainly 3 speakers. So this is a speaking question. It also contributes to your listening scores. It is normally 6th in the sequence. So whatever mock test that I have taken with the official mock test Pearson's, and then it's always appeared after answer short question, which is the 5th in sequence. So this comes after that. And the audio length will definitely be somewhere between 2 to 3 minutes. Most of the questions that I've done is very close to 3 minutes. So that is the length of the audio or the discussion that you are going to hear. It's not very fast audios that some people may think that because there are so many people speaking. Some of the speakers do speak less and there are gaps when they change the speakers from one to the other. But there is no transcript. So the transcript of the recording or the audio or the lecture is not available to you. And the preparation time after the audio finishes is only 10 seconds. And after that, you are supposed to speak for 2 minutes, 2 whole minutes. And according to the Pearson guidelines, you can get 2 to 3 questions in the exam. But if you ask me, whatever tests I have given up until now, it's only 2 of them are asked. And as I said to you before, minimum 2 speakers will be there, 3 speakers are there. So main part of this particular question is note taking and the ability to transform the similar response to what you have been doing for retail lecture into a proper format. I'll give you the templates and everything, a structure, whatever feels convenient to you, you are able to use that, and I have tested that personally. All of them are working perfectly fine. So layout wise, how is it going to look? Now I've changed some layout just to avoid the copyright issues, but this is what you will be seeing in the exam. Image here that will show you 2 to 3 images like this in a black color format, and it will tell you the hint. It will give you the hint that this is a group discussion. Okay, and then it says in the end that you have 2 minutes to give your response. 10 seconds, as you can see, is the gap time that you will get to prepare after the audio finishes. So what do we do? Let's first understand the question itself, how it is scored, what is important to do, what is important to avoid as well. First things first, scoring. It's very similar to retail lecture, describe image, and even read aloud. So content is given more priority. As you all know, 6 points now for content. Pronunciation and fluency, each of them are 5 points. But don't get ideas that I only need to focus on the content and ignore the fluency and pronunciation part. For those of you who have just started preparing for the PT exam, for the PT speaking part especially, and for those of you who have not watched our videos before, please understand that fluency is the #1 criteria in your response. What does fluency mean? Fluency means you have to carry out your response in a smooth manner. No hesitations, no fumbles, no reading word to word, this is that, or all that are regarded as hesitations. Okay, even abrupt pauses, unnecessary pauses that you are adding because you are thinking at that time. You have to continue speaking. Grammar is not marked here. So that is a good point. So don't worry about making accurately, grammatically accurate sentences. Just focus on delivery side. Fluency is the #1 criteria. If you make one mistake in fluency, then your pronunciation and content points are also decreased automatically. So if you make 3 or 4 mistakes in the fluency part, anything what I told you just now, including the speed as well. You don't have to speak very slow. You don't have to speak very fast. If you can maintain all that similar to what you have been doing for retail lecture, describe image, then this is the best response that you can get. So first things is smoothness, no hesitations, that I already told you. And this is two-part strategy similar to retail lecture. First part is when you are listening to the audio, you are taking down the notes. And what is expected from you to note down the keywords instead of phrases, because this is a very long audio, roughly 3 minutes. You will be tired if you note down phrases. Okay, and then phrase wise, you can't use that many phrases because you will be noting down only limited things. Okay, and you are expected to speak for 2 minutes. Minimum amount of time. Now, I know some channels are telling you to just speak for roughly 1 minute. Please, this is something that you need to avoid. Remember, this task is also going for a manual review. So out of 2 minutes, if you're only speaking 50% of the time, then how can it work in your favor? Just use common sense there. Minimum to minimum, you have to speak around 1.5 minutes, which is 90 seconds out of 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes. And definitely we can use a template or a structure, whatever you want to use. I'll show you both in this particular video, and then you will understand how to use them. So that's something you have to not follow. Speak as much as you can. If you can speak a little bit more as well, there is nothing wrong, but minimum 1.5 minutes, which is 90 seconds. Now, as I told you, making notes is a very important part of this kind of question, right? Because we can rely a little bit on our memory as well, but most of the things we have to make reference to the notes that we have taken. So note taking is very important. Now, this requires active listening, good listening skills. So this is what I have been telling you before as well, that listening is a very important part of your PT exam preparation. So you have to keep on listening. Daily training exercise is required for you to get very, very familiar with these native accents. Okay, I'll talk about the pronunciation part as well from the scoring, but let's understand the fluency in listening as well. So you have to listen very carefully and train yourself by listening to more podcasts, to more audios, wherever. To our live students, we provide them a lot of audios to listen every single day, and even the study plan that we give them tells them exactly to do that. So if you are one of our live students, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, you can still enroll with us. Just telegram us, and then our team will help you with the live classes. What we cover, everything, unlimited classes, app access, everything will be provided. But for now, focus on the strategy. 30 to 35 keywords or a combination as phrases. So little bit places like collocating words you can write as phrases, 1 or 2 preposition in between, that doesn't matter. But don't start writing the full sentences as phrases and trying to use that. It will be very, very challenging for you. Okay, and when you are delivering your response, once you have written, don't try to copy the accent. Pronunciation does not mean copying the accent. Pronunciation means whatever you are saying, you say it clearly so that the AI understands you well. Same way what I am speaking, you have to follow that. And speed wise also, you don't have to speak very, very fast. That will make it difficult for the AI to understand. Moderate pace, not even very, very slow. The speaker was describing, this kind of response should also be avoided. Now, when we are making notes, because there are multiple speakers involved here, some channels are telling you to put spaces, speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, and then write down first for speaker 1, then for speaker 2, then for speaker 3, again write down there. But in the exam, what they don't realize is actually you will be using the notepad. Okay, not a computer to take down notes. Now, I know not many people are very comfortable with the typing, especially when you're listening and you're typing. If you can't find a word or a letter in the keyboard, the audio is not going to wait for you and you will lose the time. So just make notes in sequence. Even if you are not able to identify the speaker correctly, which can happen sometimes, first speaker, of course, you can identify. Then second speaker, when the voice changes, again, you will be able to identify. Now, sometimes what will happen, there will be male and a combination of female voices. 2 males, 1 female, or 1 male, 2 females. Now, for the male people like me, it's difficult sometimes when the voices are very close for the females. Same way may happen to the ladies here. But what I'm trying to say is try to differentiate. If it does not, if you can't differentiate, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Some people are telling you to identify the speakers correctly. on the YouTube channel? No. I have tested this theory myself on the mock test. Whatever speaker 3 mentioned, deliberately I said it for speaker 2. No marks deduction, no penalty whatsoever. So what I'm trying to say is note it in sequence, because this is how your notepad will be. 1, 2, 3 for speaker 1, or whatever number of keywords. Then you continue for speaker 2 and whatever you recognize for speaker 3, 1, 2. Okay, in that sense, try to remember, if you already recognize the speaker 1, and whenever that guy speaks or that girl speaks, you again write speaker 1 and then note down what they have noted. Just continue it in this fashion. So active listening is required, active note taking is also required. 2 pre-steps that is required for you to be successful. The final part is delivery. Now, how the question begins, we'll listen about all of it. How the question begins is context is clearly provided to you. What exactly the students or the speakers are going to talk about is given to you in the very first sentence. So it will start like this. A group of 3 speakers or a group of 3 students are discussing about something, and then the actual discussion will start happening. So the first sentence itself, for example, a group of 3 students are discussing ideas of how to make their campus more environmental friendly. That gives you your introduction. Same thing we can apply in our introduction. So note it down, and there will be a little bit of gap after this context is provided to you and when the actual narration begins. We can hear one of them, and let's try to take down the notes. So I'll play the audio to you. Okay, so we'll play the audio for you, and then I'll start taking the notes as much as I can. And then I'll show you how to use the 2 types of templates. One a full body template and a structure based template, whichever is more convenient to you. Because this is a big response, you will have to remember a lot of things or note down a lot of things. So let's hear it out.
A group of 3 students are discussing ideas about how to make their campus more environmentally friendly.
So, I've been thinking a lot about the environment lately, and that we should be looking at how to make the campus greener. We've got recycling bins for cardboard and cans, but that's only scratching the surface. We could be a lot more proactive. I've heard that ink and printer cartridges can nearly always be recycled, so that could be one starting point.
Yeah, and don't forget batteries too. All the raw materials can be extracted from them for the manufacturers to reuse. So you're conserving energy, reducing pollution, and helping the economy. You know, that's another thing we could be doing. But what can we do to encourage students to actually try and recycle more? It'd be good if we could offer some incentive.
What if we asked the university to do a competition to get students to design some kind of artwork promoting recycling? I reckon people would be you for that. But what would the winners get?
I think we need to draw people in somehow, create a buzz and get them talking about it and then actually doing the recycling. Maybe the winner's artwork could be displayed on the university website homepage and in the main building foyer. And then, in practical terms, we'd also need more allocated drop-off points for recyclable items. I mean, at the moment there aren't very many places for people to recycle stuff, so it just goes to the regular garbage.
Yeah, great idea about displaying the artwork in a place everyone can see it. And maybe for the first couple of weeks after the new recycling points have been introduced, we can get a group of volunteers in those fluorescent yellow high visibility jackets to hand out flyers or just let people know about them.
Yes, well, we need it to become a habit so that the next time a student has some cardboard or paper to recycle, they remember to take their used ink cartridges or batteries with them too. And we can pass the info about the competition and the recycling points to those 2 final year students who do that really popular weekly podcast for the campus. We could also ask them to build in a regular time slot to talk more about the environment and being greener on the campus to keep the dialogue going. We don't want to lose momentum. There's always the danger that we have a couple of months of change and then we all go back to how we were before.
Oh yes, that's a good idea. They are great, those 2 podcasters. I know loads of people who listen to them. There will also be others who listen to their podcasts who can offer good ideas about other steps we can take. So that should hopefully help maximize our chances of reaching as many students as possible.
Okay, so as you can see, I was typing. So of course, while typing, you make typing mistakes, but when you are scribbling down, you are more accustomed to that. So you have, see how many words I was able to take down. I said 30, 35 words. It's definitely more than that. And as you heard the audio, this is similar to the audio what you get in the exam. Some speakers, sometimes some parts of the responses, they speak little bit faster, but most of the time it is quite convenient to understand. The only thing that you need is listening skills, proper listening skills, so that you don't have to try and decode the words they are speaking, but actually understand. So parts of the lecture I also understood when I was listening. So that's the level you need to achieve while you are preparing for your listening skills. So once I understood, this is something I have put it here. Listening, speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, speaker 1, 2, whatever order they spoke, and then I spoke about it. Okay, so now it's the time to see the two types of templates. One is the trimmed version, which is the structural template, and one is the actual bigger version of the template. Now it's a big response, so it is expected that you will get a bigger kind of template. So this is a sample. Now whenever I share a template with you guys, I ask you to modify some things. Okay, don't just take anything for granted. So what I'm trying to say is, same template is going to be used by hundreds of students. Make it unique for yourself so that it doesn't flag the human reviewer when he is checking your response. So I'm saying multiple speakers were having a group discussion on something, the topic. Then the first speaker, so you can change the linking words that I've written here. Instead of the first speaker or the first guy, the second person, third person, like that also you can speak. Okay, there's no specific guidance from the Pearson that you have to follow a certain style of writing. The main thing is, because you are summarizing a group discussion, you need to provide an introduction, what exactly they were talking about, the main idea. And that you will get from the beginning sentence, the first sentence, what the group discussion people are talking about. And then in the conclusion, also, of course, you have to talk about what these guys agreed on collectively. Okay, so as you can see, some parts of the templates are focusing on first speaker, second speaker, third speaker. Some parts of them are talking about collective ideas because they were discussing, right? So some of them, they wanted to, and then multiple speakers. Lastly, all of them discussed this and all of them agreed to something. So this is the structure that you need to follow. And now I'll show you a trimmed version, but before that, let's attempt the question and see how the response will look. So if I go back to my notes and I'm trying to follow the same template, then I'll be speaking something like this. Multiple speakers were discussing about making their campus environmental friendly. The first speaker was, let me start underlining them. The first speaker was thinking about environment and how to make the campus greener using the recycle bins, cans, and whatever they needed more. See, in this type of responses where you have to speak for a longer period of time, don't just say the keywords. Little bit verbosity is required here. You need to be longer, you need to be elaborate, a little bit more chatty person. You have to become that for this particular response. So even though I am a bit conservative speaker, but when I have to attempt this kind of question, I have to elaborate unnecessarily, longer sentences to say the same thing. So let's see what we are doing. Again, I'll start from the beginning. Multiple speakers were talking about making their campus greener and how to make their campus even environmental friendly. The first speaker was talking about recycling bins, cans, and what they could need more to be proactive for the students. Then the second speaker also talked about batteries, printer cartridges, and how the manufacturers can be contacted in order to use them. Also, the third speaker was talking about competition and how a design artwork can encourage the students to be the winner and participate in something like this. Some of them had ideas related to reusing and reducing the pollution and also saving the energy of the batteries and thereby encouraging the students. Together, they wanted to also discuss about the incentives, what they can offer to the students and how this initiative can help the economy. Later, the third speaker also talked about group volunteers in different jackets that can help distribute the information to the students. Moreover, the first and the second student talked about the university websites where the winner's name can be displayed and also about more drop-off points for the recycling. Lastly, all of them agreed that this should be a habit and everyone should remember about how to pass the information to different students. In the end, they all agreed that podcast is a good opportunity for them to use because people listen to podcasts regularly and this will help them to maximize their chances. Something like that you have to elaborate. Now I'll show you the template. This is what I spoke about. Now I don't necessarily need to follow the same order. Whatever I have in front of me, that becomes the barrier. If after speaker 1, speaker 2 comes, then the next sentence I will say the speaker 2 or the second speaker. Don't say speaker 1, speaker 2. First speaker, second speaker. Like that you can say. Or first student, second student, because in this case they were students. But speaker is more appropriate. Now, a trimmed down version. If you don't want to remember more elaborate things and you are capable of making longer phrases on your own, just how I elaborated to you very, very dynamically. You have to just keep on saying, don't worry about grammatical mistakes. I did make some grammatical mistakes because I was speaking impromptu. Multiple speakers were and then put a phrase there. So this one you can use as an trimmed down version or structure based template if you are comfortable in making phrases. A lot of you are, and for many of you who are not very comfortable at this stage, you can become by dedicated listening practice, note taking practice, and then trying to use a structure based template like this. Okay, we have already tested both the template, this structure. One of the question I attempted with the template, the other one more or less using the structural template, and both of them resulted in a good response. Good score is what I got in the end. We'll share the results for the speaking module test very soon on the YouTube channel, but because of popular demand, some students are disturbed or nervous how to prepare for this question. So I'm sharing the strategy, complete strategy. You can download the template. We'll provide the link in the description and everything. And if you are thinking or need more time to prepare, we do provide the live classes. Do contact us on Telegram, on the links that are provided on our channel. Just click on it and then we'll be able to help you. So see, this is the kind of response that we give, how big it looks. Okay, but when you are actually speaking it using your notes, this will automatically become so big. Multiple speakers were, what have I done? Let's elaborate. How to make their student campus environmental friendly and discussing several ideas related to exactly what the first sentence told me. And then I kept on adding campus greener, recycle bins, more active participation, including this, suggestions, drop-off points. See, you just have to make phrase and just try to relate something. Recycling bins for what? Recycling bins for paper, ink, cartridges. So like that you can relate it. So this is how you need to execute this strategy to get a perfect 90 score. We have already done it. Don't be misguided by some people who are telling you to speak only 1 minute or try to identify the speakers. Very, very important. Please, I have tested these theories already and that is not required, but definitely because this task is going for a manual check in the end, manual review in the end, automatically, even if you're speaking less or more, every time it will go for a manual review. So you do need to provide sufficient content because content is scored the highest in this. So speak for 1.5 minutes. And if you have not watched the videos that we have shared recently on our exam experiments with the PT reading and the PT writing, how we were able to use all the templates successfully, everything is shared on the YouTube channel. Please go and have a look. And in the meantime, if you are looking for additional benefits related to YouTube membership plans that we offer, do explore these two, VIP and priority, and watch the video to understand what benefits you get there. In the end, keep watching Edutrainex and I'll soon be back with another informative video on PT topics. See you soon.